Hi, guys, welcome back to Living Abroad, the podcast. Yes, guys, South Africans are all out in arms everywhere. Durban, Cape Town, East London, everyone is out there trying to keep the story of Ucwecwe alive and trying to put the pressure on the government, on the police in Ematatiela. So we can only hope, guys, that the momentum will still carry on even after the arrest. We know now that the principal has felt the pressure. I'm not 100% sure, but I think he had submitted his DNA samples. Some outlets say he has, and uh, some outlets say he hasn't. So I'm not 100% sure, but I think he has. So just after the media, like the whole outbreak of people going out on the street, so he's feeling the pressure, which is good. This will die down the minute they say, oh, we have arrested this person, and the person will probably be in jail waiting for the trial, and the storm will just die down. The minute they arrest someone, and the minute they say, okay, we have arrested this person and they are waiting for trial, we have been here before. It just feels so familiar. Remember, Uyinen, it just sounds so familiar. The minute the person is arrested, they'll sit in jail waiting for trial, and people will just, the story will just like slowly die in the media, and we might hear back when he's on trial, and again it will just like disappear as if nothing has ever happened. I'm really hoping, guys, that this time heads must roll. There needs to be like a proper and thorough investigation on how whoever it is was able to get away with this. We really don't know who did this, and if it is the principal, thorough investigation needs to be done. As like how, if it happened at school, we need to know how the person was able to be near children, a person who's capable of doing this, and heads must roll. It's just so scary that the momentum will die the minute they say, okay, the person is arrested. We're just gonna forget about it. And I hope the sex offenders list, the bill can be passed, because I don't even understand who will oppose that. It should have been done a long time ago. Who did this? How were they able to be near children? How were they able to be near children? There might be hundreds and hundreds of victims out there of this person. It's not even a person, of this pig. It's even an insult to pigs, of this thing. Anyone who's capable of doing such has done it before. To know how to shut us up, we'll just pretend we are doing something now because they are out on the street. Who did this? There's so many questions. There's so many unanswered questions when it comes to the story. First of all, if you wanna answer that question, you need to know when and where. So if we go with the mother's account of events starting on the Monday, because it does seem like it started on the Monday when the child was picked up, or when Ucwecwe was dropped off at home later than her usual time. There's so many elements of that story, of that incident on its own, that needs to be answered. First of all, was it usual for the driver to be late? And Cwecwe's mother does mention that on the particular day, the school, when the transport did not arrive, the school usually calls the parents to ask or tell them that the transport has not arrived. But on that particular day, the school called the driver and the driver asked another person to go pick up the children. This is when the caretaker asked the children to go back inside and clean. Again, Cwecwe's mother is explaining that she has never signed a form that says her child must clean. That's another question there. Why? Because if the transport got there on time, why did the caretaker ask the children to go and clean? And why are they cleaning different classrooms? I mean, we're talking about 7-year-olds. That's the second question, the caretaker. And as for the principal, where was he? AfroForum went on an interview and claimed that the principal was not even at the premises at that time. How do they know that? What sort of investigation did they do to make sure that he was really not there? And the transport came, and we need to know also the timeline. We need to know the timeline. How long was it, the child? Because if Cwecwe says at some point she felt tired and woke up when she was told that the transport has arrived, the timeline, how long was this? And also, now there's a story about there was a gathering on Tuesday. Cwecwe comes home on Tuesday and her zip was not up. So now you wonder, because the incident of the driver picking them up late was on Monday. So on Tuesday, Cwecwe comes back home, her zip is undone there. So who was driving her on that day? And this is the night. This is the night that she complains about not being able to go to the bathroom, and her being like really, really feeling unwell, to a point where when the mother gave her some medication on Tuesday. So it does not sound like she was sick or she was complaining of anything on Monday when she arrived late. It seems like this, whatever happened on Tuesday. I don't know, guys. You'll just let me know what you think. When she woke up on Wednesday morning, when she was really, really struggling, and they had to when the mom examined her, and they ended up going to the doctors on Wednesday morning. It seems like whatever happened on a Tuesday. Because I don't know if she would have managed to go to school on Tuesday. So the zip was undone on Tuesday when she arrived from school. And she was ill. She couldn't go to the bathroom. And on Wednesday morning, this is when the mom saw what she saw. So, guys, let me know. There's so many questions. And it's just so frustrating and so shocking that 5 months in, we're still asking these questions. Why has the police not been asking these questions? They should be able to just give us answers. Guys, I'll see you on another video, but let's keep the story of uCwecwe alive. Let's keep the momentum on. Everything needs to be answered. Heads must roll.